Yep, there he is. There they are. Now that is a very, very green wire, and this is the Razer Blackshark V2X, and we're here to answer 3 questions. Number 1, is it garbage? Because we don't want that. Number 2, will you hit that subscribe button at the end? We'll find out. And number 3, and this is the most important one, is it actually the best thing you can buy for $50? Now I have big plans for testing out number 3, but we'll get to that later. Let me tell you a little about this first. It's $50. What do you get for that? Well, you get this massive box, a lot of padding inside. It comes really well padded, and a lot of marketing speak. The kind of marketing speak that would make an engineer bang his head against the wall. Here's my favorite: advanced passive noise cancellation. And what that means is it covers your ears and therefore it blocks out sound. Literally, that's it. And there's a lot more of that. But the headphone itself is pretty interesting. Number 1, I can tell you this feels kind of exactly like it costs. It's $50, which means cheap plastics. That's not a bad thing. Those cheap plastics are also very lightweight plastics. That, combined with the leatherette foam padding that you have on the headband as well as the ear cups, means that this is actually really, really comfortable. You get leatherette on top, you get leatherette on the sides of the pads, but you get this synthetic fiber over here, which means for all those extra sweaty gamers out there, you already know who you are. That's a good thing. Now, the ear cups themselves are deep enough that my ears actually don't touch the frame in front of the actual speakers, and the ear pads, well, they're wide enough for my ears, but I can tell you that if you've got larger ears than mine, that's gonna touch the sides of those ear pads, and over a period of a couple of hours of gaming, it might bother you. Just something to keep in mind. Now, it also comes with some adjustments. You can adjust this in and out, but you can't swivel it back and forth. You can adjust the headphone height, but honestly, this is the cheapest headphone adjusting mechanism I've seen. It's basically just a friction locking mechanism, and it feels like it might wear out over time. Just something to keep in mind. What you also get is a microphone. The microphone is not detachable and it doesn't swivel out of the way either, but you can bend it to your will. You also get a little volume knob. Now that is actually pretty interesting because it's super handy to just have that volume knob right on your left ear and you don't have to reach for anything. Really good. It's also got a handy little mute button. So next time you're on Discord and you decide to eat a bag of chips, please feel free to use that mute button. No, seriously, use the mute button, guys. It also comes with a cable, and that cable is not detachable either. It is a single-ended cable, which works great for a lot of laptops, with a hybrid jack that works for both the headphone as well as the microphone. If you've got 2 jacks, don't worry, it does come in the box with a splitter as well, so you're covered. Now, the cool thing about this is that's all you get. There's nothing digital, there's no processing happening here. It's a very simple headset. Everything is analog. Even this mute button here, that feels like it's just basically disconnecting the mic. And that's a good thing. Fewer things that can break. In fact, the whole headphone, despite it being very cheap feeling in terms of the plastics, it doesn't feel like it's gonna break anytime soon, and that's a really good thing. For $50 then, this is a lightweight, comfortable headphone that seems reasonably well put together. So far, it's doing pretty well. That begs the question, how does it actually sound? Well, there's 2 things. First, we'll talk about music, we'll talk about how the tonal balance is, and then I think we should get into some games. So first, how does it sound for music? Honestly, $50 gaming headset made by a gaming company, I expected this to be garbage. And it's not. It's not great. I'm not even going to go into things like layering and detail. No, we're not even going to go there, right? But it's a fun sound. There's a big bass boost. The treble region is pretty good. There's a little bit of peakiness around the 10 kilohertz range, and the upper mids are surprisingly recessed. Still though, it's not bad. Like, I've heard much worse things in this price category, and this is surprisingly pleasant. Now, with a little bit of EQ, a little bit of testing, about 5 minutes worth of work, this thing sounded really good. Wait, you know what? Just hang on 1 second. Okay, this is the Moondrop Void. It's a $200 headphone. $200 from a company that does primarily audio. This, with about 5 minutes of EQing, sounds better than this. Just as much detail, just as much transparency, but a little bit of a bass shelf. honestly a more fun sound and just as refined as this. So that might not be a fair comparison. This is Moondrop's first attempt at a headphone, to be fair, and I believe they're changing things, and from what I've been told, they're sending me the revised version, so maybe hit that subscribe button to see what they've actually changed. But that's not the point. The point is, this is surprisingly good value so far. Now, in terms of imaging, the ability to pinpoint where sounds are coming from, it's not the most precise, but it's pretty good. It's really not bad. Soundstage is not too wide. It's a bit in your head, but it's got decent imaging, which is really important for gaming. Basically, it sounds pretty good with a little bit of EQ, without EQ, it sounds okay. It doesn't sound bad. That's the important thing so far. Now let's get into some games. Okay, here we go. Let's actually try it out. First, we'll do a microphone check and then we'll get into some games. Okay, first of all, for reference, what you're listening to right now is the Elgato Wavelink microphone, and that's my primary microphone that I use for live streaming and such. You can catch me when I'm online. You'll get a notification if you've subscribed. But this is a good idea of what good quality audio should sound like. Now, we'll switch over to the Razer microphone inbuilt. Now it's not clipping, I'm not talking very loudly. If I were to raise my voice, it's going to sound like this, and if I were to talk softly, it's going to sound like this. So in comparison with the Elgato mic, how does it sound? Alright, now that you've got that, we'll get into some games. Alright, let's get into a game of Apex Legends first. This game has actually improved its spatial audio, its positional audio over the last few years, so that's definitely going to be a good test for the Razer Blackshark V2X. While we're getting into the game, let's talk about the microphone, or this microphone. Two things. Number one, it definitely makes your voice sound a little thin, but I think given the price, it's not terrible. It could be a lot worse. The one thing I will say is there's no pop filter, so you can buy one on Amazon and put a pop filter on there, or if you don't want to do that, just raise it or lower it below your mouth so that whatever you're speaking, the air isn't hitting the microphone directly, so the pop sounds don't annoy the guy at the other end. And if you're lowering it, just twist it upwards a little so that it's facing your mouth and it'll pick it up a little better. Alright, I'm going to be obviously watching for visual cues but also listening for audio cues. Something on my left. I heard something on my left, up here. Yep, there he is. There they are. Okay, that's good. Positional audio is pretty good on that one. Okay, got him. Nice. That was all positional audio, guys. I could hear him down there behind me. There's another guy down here. Yep. Oh, there he is. So positional audio, pretty good. I could hear everybody. I could hear where their footsteps were, and I could hear whether they were above or below different levels. That's actually pretty good. Now, I'm not going to vouch for... Oh, we're getting rezzed. All right. I'm not going to vouch for distance. I'm not sure that it works for distance as well as I'd like to, but it certainly doesn't work badly, especially for the money. Okay, we'll just jump into a quick play match here, but a little free tip for you guys: if you are playing the new Call of Duty, footsteps tend to get muffled and mixed in with everything else. Here's a couple of tips. You go into audio settings and you set your audio mix to home theater. Not PC, not headphones, certainly not headphones with bass boost. That will mess things up if you're trying to be competitive, if you're not playing the campaign. Home theater mode. Better spatial audio, better footsteps, they stand out a lot clearer. Reduce your music volume, reduce your dialogue volume so it doesn't interfere with your actual footstep volume, which is crucial if you're playing multiplayer modes like I am right now. Alright guys, let's do this. Okay, I definitely heard her. I can hear somebody. I knew someone was there. That's cool. Yep. Okay, so overall, I have to say the experience was pretty darn good. I'm not going to say it's the greatest at distancing, but it's not bad. It's just not great. But at least it tells you where it is and you can swivel around and use your eyes to see further. It's, honestly, for 50 bucks, pretty decent spatial audio. I like it. Okay, so that was a blast and my excuse for gaming. But look, this is good value by itself. Held in complete isolation from the market, $50 gets you a comfortable headset, reasonably well-built headset for the money, gets you a microphone, and gets you a couple of extra features, all for $50. That is a very good value proposition by itself, especially since it doesn't sound like trash. That's a good thing. And with EQ, it can sound pretty decent. That's a really good thing. But the question then is not just whether it's not garbage, is it the best thing you can do for $50? The only way we can really find out if this is actually good for the money is by comparing it with everything else. And here's the thing. Instead of buying every other gaming headset in this price range, I thought, why not step it up a notch? So I decided to go for something a little different. The JBL Tune 200. Both of them are within the same price range. They're $50 or less, but they're made by JBL. So not only are we going to answer the question, is this the best under $50 going up against an audio company's version of a gaming headset, but how does a gaming company do when it's interfering in the audio world against an actual audio company? By extension, I think we'll also find out how an audio company does in the gaming world. So that's going to be a fun video. We'll find out a lot about both of those headsets, and I think it's great value, especially with Christmas coming up. Something sub $50 that gives you good sound and good gaming experience. That's one you want to subscribe for. I'll see you in that one. Stay happy, stay peaceful, stay colorful. Namaste.